Coming up on the Angus Report, the right perspective is important in today's cattle market. How dollar value indices help drive profitability in the Angus business. A look at the association's Maternal Plus program for improving reproductive traits. And celebrate Father's Day with Gaffney Family Cattle in southern Wisconsin. This is the Angus Report. Hello and welcome to the Angus Report. I'm Bob Cervera. Crystal Albers still has a couple weeks off. Our top news this week. After 2 years of record cattle prices, many people might be shaking their heads at current market conditions. CattleFax analyst Kevin Good says, even though the market is lower than previous years, cow-calf producers are still in the driver's seat. He offers an outlook for what the future market will bring.
We need to recognize where we're at from a market standpoint. We're coming off a cycle high in late 2014, early 2015, and all classes of cattle have been devalued, roughly 30 to 40% from that peak. Now, but at the same time, they're at or above levels that we experienced in 2012 and 2013. So from a longer term perspective, prices are still historically good, but they will trend lower as we think about over the next couple of years from a cycle standpoint. In particular this summer, the fed cattle market's probably going to spend a lot of time in the 120s, maybe the low 130s. Feeder cattle market probably spends a lot of time in the 140s, 150s. The calf market probably spends a lot of time in the 170s and 180s as we think about the next few months. From a margin standpoint, the cow-calf producers in the driver's seat, still at levels with a combination of very good moisture conditions that we continue to exceed. The beef cow herd expands. Feedlots or the stockers, both of those have been challenged the last couple of years. As the prices have came down in 2015 and so far in 2016, the margin operators they've been running in the red. So their margins we think will improve as we go forward, but we need to recognize they are being squeezed at the present time.
Selection indices like dollar values developed by the American Angus Association were created to help producers by simplifying their genetic selection decisions. They take into account genetic and economic values to select for multiple traits of economic merit. Dollar value indices are expressed in dollars per head that estimate how future progeny of each sire are expected to perform on average compared to progeny of other sires. Matt Spangler, a beef extension genetic specialist, shares how to maximize selection decisions.
Those are really the tools that allow producers to select on multiple traits simultaneously and really try to improve overall profitability. Those selection indices can be either terminal or maternal in nature, and so when producers use those indices, it's important to use the ones that really fit their breeding objective. If they sell at weaning and retain replacement heifers, use an index that makes those same assumptions, instead of using an index that's maybe assumed to be terminal only. The other thing they need to do is identify any environmental constraints that might exist. If they're in a low rainfall area that doesn't have much available forage, then they need to realize that there probably needs to be an upper bound on mature weight and lactation potential of their cows. And as a consequence, they need to buy bulls that maybe put downward selection pressure on those kinds of traits. So truly knowing what you need, knowing what your cost of production is, knowing what the current levels of performance are in your herd, all help inform the traits that are important to you and what particular areas you need to focus on.
Angus Genetics Incorporated will release its annual update of economic assumptions used in the calculation of American Angus Association dollar values this July. Dollar values for Angus cattle are available at angus.org. Inspired and productive rural communities are an essential part of the nation's agricultural future. With help from dedicated leaders, the small towns can be transformed with creativity and entrepreneurship that brings new life to America's last great places. With the right planning and culture, the Rural Futures Institute at the University of Nebraska reports rural communities have a lot to offer.
There are three mega trends that I think are critical to the success of rural areas right now. The first one would be the gig economy, and that relates to entrepreneurship. So we see a lot of people wanting to create gigs or businesses for themselves, not necessarily wanting to be a full-time employee somewhere else, and they can do that using the internet, the web, very well. The second mega trend would be creating a life of purpose and meaning. So what does life mean to me? What are those core values? How do I get clear on that? And how do I live that? And the third is the global marketplace. Your customers may not be in your local main street or your local neighborhood or even your region. they may be in another country. And so as we continue to see that global marketplace expand, we need to make sure our leaders and entrepreneurs are connected with it and help people build their brands in that space so they can be found.
Visit ruralfutures.nebraska.edu to learn more about supporting rural community development. According to the USDA, China will be auctioning off 2 million tons of old corn and 200,000 tons of rice. The quality of the grains continues to decrease, and with the continued drop in corn prices, so does the potential for China to turn a profit. China recently announced that it plans to change its practice of stockpiling grain, and in its effort to change policy, the country stands to lose more than $10 billion worth of grain at auction. All involved in the global agriculture economy will keep a close eye on what it means for markets moving forward. American Angus Association members should note June 28th is the deadline to submit data to be printed in the organization's Fall Sire Evaluation Report. Angus breeders who want information on their bulls included within the printed report should send data in prior to the 28th. While the complete national cattle evaluation, including genomic enhanced EPDs, is released online each week, the association also distributes a printed spring and fall sire evaluation report as a service to members. We go now to Jenna McCrell for all you need to know this week in the Angus business.
The 2016 Beef Improvement Federation Annual Conference and Research Symposium is being held this week in Manhattan, Kansas. The BIF conference draws a large group of leading seed stock and commercial beef producers, academics, and allied industry partners. The event features 2.5 days of educational programming and focuses on enhancing value through genetic improvement across the beef production chain. Angus Media's communications team will be on hand to provide comprehensive coverage on the meeting website, bifconference.com. You can also stay tuned to angus.media for news updates, and we will feature stories and speakers in upcoming episodes of the Angus Report. The Leaders Engaged in Angus Development Conference, or LEAD, is set to take place August 4th through the 7th in Phoenix, Arizona. The 2016 event is themed Rising Up in Phoenix and is designed for National Junior Angus Association members 14 to 21 years old. Junior members will travel from across the nation to experience local agriculture and participate in leadership workshops put on by the National Junior Angus Board. The LEAD Conference is an opportunity for junior members to meet new friends from across the country, develop leadership skills, and explore careers in agriculture. The early registration deadline for this year's LEAD Conference is June 15th, and more details are available at angus.org. The June issue of the Angus Journal should be arriving in mailboxes soon and offers its readers valuable insight into the quality beef business. We look into feeding strategies for various climates, how some producers may incorporate dry lots into their summer feeding plans, and we meet Angus breeders recovering after the massive Anderson Creek wildfire that raged through Oklahoma and Kansas. All that and more in this month's Angus Journal. And that's what you need to know this week in the Angus business.
Thanks, Jenna. When we return, producing quality beef for global consumers requires a team effort. Then we travel to southern Wisconsin to celebrate Father's Day with Angus breeder Scott Gaffney. Visit angus.media to continue watching this episode of the Angus Report.
The Angus Report is brought to you by Merck Animal Health, the makers of Safeguard Cattle Dewormer. Healthy cattle perform better. Add Safeguard, add pounds. Contact your veterinarian or animal health supplier today.
This isn't a 9-to-5 job. So when you check the pens one last time, put away the tools, and make sure everything's ready to hand off to the night crew. It's not the clock that tells you the day is over. It's the confidence of knowing you got it right. It's having one less thing to worry about when the sun goes down. So when you see the signs of BRD, choose confidence. Choose Zuprevo from Merck Animal Health. Talk to your veterinarian about Zuprevo for BRD treatment.
Beef quality is everyone's responsibility. including yours. That's why the checkoff-funded Beef Quality Assurance Program is key to your future. BQA, empowering people because you can make a difference, taking responsibility because it's our job, not someone else's, working together because product safety and wholesomeness is everyone's business. Find out more at bqa.org.
We have 4 silencer chutes. Worked out good. We use them every day, and then we just had great luck with them. We have a commercial Angus herd that we're 100% organic, grass-fed. Smoothness and the quietness of it just makes cattle working a pleasure. It's just a very important tool in our arsenal in our ranching business. The simplicity of the chute itself is easy to maintain, very little repair work on any of them, and I just think it's the best chute I've ever had, actually. So.
Did you know that your checkoff works to safeguard beef's image and reputation? There's lots of noise on the internet, but did you know the checkoff uses the website factsaboutbeef.com to tackle myths? Did you know factsaboutbeef.com also shares stories about beef production? While you're focused on managing your beef business, your checkoff is busy protecting the image of your industry and your end product. Get to know your checkoff at mybeefcheckoff.com.
Angus breeders, predictability is now more affordable. Introducing the i50K from Zoetis, a genomic test that allows you to dig deeper for untapped herd potential. Access genomic information on even more animals for less cost without sacrificing accuracy. i50K from Zoetis helps you make more informed decisions sooner and better match your females to that perfect sire. To learn more, visit i50k.com.